All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Close Up Magic. I'm your host, Stephen Cameron. And today, we got a really good episode with you. The Magic are 2-2 in the first round of the playoffs. They lost the first two games versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they won the two home games, which was super exciting in amazing fashions with Paulo and Franz both having their playoff moments, even Jalen Suggs having his playoff moments, the role players having their playoff moments. Everything just started clicking. Felt really good. We got Malik Grady joining me on this show today. He's you've heard him on the show before. If you're on the Twitter streets, you've seen him on the Twitter streets for Magic community. He's great. We have a really good time. We talk a little bit about games 1 and 2, and kind of the shifts within the team that allowed them to have success for games 3 and 4. We dig a little bit deeper into games 3 and 4. And then we talk about game 5. And also we talk about Coach Mosley getting second place of Coach of the Year voting. We talk about a lot. It's a lot of fun. Give Malik Grady a follow on Twitter and X, whatever you're referring to it these days, at Malik G. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm psyched, guys. This intro is probably not going to make a whole lot of sense. I just appreciate you all listening, tuning in. Magic HQ's got you covered for just about everything. We've been dropping podcasts after every single game. We have the X Spaces post-game shows hosted by Bryce, Stanley, and Skinny after every single game, which has been a blast to be a part of. Go check those out. They start typically about 10 minutes or so after the game ends. They go live on X, and you can join the spaces, jump on, give your thoughts and opinions, celebrate, be excited, cry if we get crushed. Like it's a lot of fun. So kick in there. And Brett James have been doing an awesome job sending out post-game write-ups and stuff like that as he's been going to the Magic games and covering them. So Orlando Magic HQ is your spot. Magic HQ on Twitter, on X. So make sure you check that out. Orlando Magic HQ on Instagram. And of course, you can find us at orlandomagichq.com. Before we get to the conversation with Malik, remind you all of our subscription program on Instagram, $5. It's the pinned post on our Instagram. Go check it out if you want to learn more about it. And then obviously I just want to shout out our who this show is sponsored by. It's sponsored by BetOnline. BetOnline is your number one source for all your summer sports this season from MLB golf, NBA, and NHL playoffs. I've been placing some bets, been having some fun. BetOnline's a really good place to do those things. All the latest stats, news, scores are available for you to follow in your favorite teams. It's really great. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest team matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, that's it. We're getting to the conversation before 3 minutes and 30 seconds into the podcast. I'm psyched. Let's go Magic. Enjoy the conversation with me and Malik, or Malik and I. There's my grammar mistake. Peace. All right, everyone. Like I said, we got Malik Grady, my good friend, part of the Orlando Magic community on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. He's very active on there. I'm sure you've heard of him, and you've also heard him on this show. He's been on the show once or twice now, and was also a part of my old generation of podcasting. Malik Grady, welcome to the show, man. How you doing tonight?
I really couldn't be doing better when it comes to the Magic, dude. It's a beautiful time to be alive after all of the anguish that we've gone through, all of the pain, and now to be experiencing it. I just want to bask in it, especially with people like you that we've got to know each other over these past years through the misery, and now we get to enjoy it. The Magic community is coming together. There's different podcasts and stuff going on, so it's just an exciting time. That's where I'm at basically 24/7 right now.
Well, dude, I knew you were feeling good when I hit you up. I'm like, hey man, come join the show. tonight. I'd love to, talk basketball with you. And you're like, yo, of course I'm down. And then you show up on camera and you're wearing your baller Magic jacket. So then I'm like, dude, I got to go change. And then I had to go grab my jacket because I was like, you can't be the only one wearing a sweet Magic jacket. So I knew you were feeling good wearing about, thinking about the Magic and just feeling good. And let's be real, you and I, we're not the youngest Magic fans in the world. We've been through this, and this is like the first time in a long time we have felt some relevance in this league, which feels really, really good. Man, Malik, we are recording this on Monday night, April 29th. The Magic have played 4 games versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. They lost the first 2 in Cleveland. They took they took care of business at home in a big way on games 3 and 4. And game 5 will be played on Tuesday, April 30th at 5 p.m. Eastern on NBA TV. And then the game 6, which will definitely happen, will be Friday, May 3rd, time to be determined, probably in the evening. This is exciting, man. So, okay, before we get too deep into like kind of the current games and stuff like that, what were your thoughts and feelings after games 1 and 2 coming into the home crowd?
Well, really, I think what I went with was that old adage, whether it's true or not, the old adage that says a playoff series doesn't start until one team wins on the road.
That's
So
correct. Yeah.
I was with guys like the Adam Papagiorgio, those type of guys who were like, hey, don't worry about these first 2 games. You don't have to win those games. However, obviously, in the way that we lost, where you're still struggling to score. There are times when it seems like you can't cover Donovan Mitchell. There's a little bit of that inkling of fear. You can take care of business at home, but you have to see it. And with a young team, you don't have that proof of concept. There's no one you can go to and say, hey, remember when 2 years ago this guy stepped up and last year this guy stepped up? This is like, it's all brand new for everybody. So you're hoping, and then to see it come to fruition, especially in the fashion that it did, was just glorious. It was really glorious.
No, I mean, I felt some of those feelings too about like kind of trying to hold on to like cliche sayings,
Yes.
like yours was it's not a series until a home team wins on the road. Mine was that I was holding on to was road players play better at home, or sorry, role players play better at home, right?
Gotcha.
And what was holding us back on the first couple of games, road players not or role players, sorry, not road players, role
Right.
players not hitting their shots, right? And I was just holding on to that, trying to think that is going to be something that changes when we get to Kia Center and these players are in their home, in their comfort, and
Yeah.
shooting in the lights that they're comfortable in, and maybe shots will fall then, and maybe rebounds will be grabbed at that point. And so I love how we were both holding on to specific sayings to get us to that point, right? Now we're 4 games in. Like I said, we're 2 and 2. The Magic are 2 and 2. Game 3 was almost a week ago, Thursday, April 25th, and it was a blowout. 121 to 83, the Magic win. Paulo went off for 31 points. He looked like he owned every aspect of that game. He kind of had that like, yo, this is my house. I'm the best player on the floor, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. Even the refs can't stop me. When you saw Paulo in game 3, what were some of the feelings that you were feeling? What were some of the things you were noticing on the court? And just what were some of other players that kind of like caught your attention in that game as well?
Well, I think the biggest thing in that game was I think Paulo didn't have any turnovers, and he had I want to say 9 the first game and 6 the second game.
It was 15
kinda,
between both
yes.
games 1 and 2.
So it's like, oh man, I mean, this is our boy, but he seems like he's looking really young out there, and Cleveland. I want to mention this earlier is that Cleveland was making it easy to dislike them. Some of the things that they were doing, some of the ways they're playing, there was a sense of almost entitlement, like they shouldn't have to be on the court with us.
Right.
There was also some things reportedly that fans said in the stands. You even saw one time a guy spoke something that the Franz got thrown out that we think might have been, just we don't need to talk about it here, but some things that were just not right that they were doing, making it easy to hate them. So to see us come home and Paulo have that type of game where this is what we always wanted. This is what the debate was as to who to take at the top of the draft last year. Do you need a role player? Do you need the defensive guy? And we have our star, this guy who can take on more of a workload. And he showed it all that night. I wish that had been the game they'd been on TNT, but nevertheless, it was nice to see him do that because everyone in the highlights got to see that, and it was just a kind of coming out party in the playoffs, not just in the regular season, but in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's you wanted that validation that he could do this at a high level too. And it's not like he played awful outside of the, he had bad turnovers, but it's like, first game he had 24 points, second game he had 21 points. Like that, those are respectable numbers, like the first game he had 24, 7 and 5, second game 21, 7 and 5. That was, he didn't have 21, 7 and 5. I apologize. Those are incorrect for the second game. But yeah, like game one, he led the team in points, rebounds, and assists. Like that, like it's not like he was playing awful. He just had but really kind of leveling up, Not only did he have 31 points, he had 14 rebounds and 8 assists that game. He almost had a triple-double in his first home playoff game. Like he looked like a superstar. And there are other all-stars on the court that he played against, Donovan Mitchell. I think even Darius Garland might have made it. Has he made an all-star? Jared Allen's even made an all-star team, Evan Mobley is not made an all-star team, but he's a really good basketball player. And Paulo just made them all look like children, which was pretty awesome. That game, we also had Suggs kind of coming out party. I'm going to look up the box score. I can't remember off the top of my head. But
I'm sure Suggs that game he had 24 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. They had switched him onto Donovan Mitchell a little more, so he made his life more hell. And so it was a little more instead of being on Garland as he had been in the first couple of games. So you saw some adjustments, and again, you saw some lineup adjustments as well. So it was it wasn't an elimination game. It was a game that theoretically you could have lost, but
sure,
it felt like everything. After the gentleman's sweeps, where we had won one game 2 years in a row, and then all the rest of the games go out, to have it now where you're at home, and if you lose, we can tell ourselves, okay, hey, we had a good season. We had 46, 47 wins, all this kind of thing. But to actually win that game and have a game, 4 mean something and be even more on TNT, there were so many things at stake for that. And like I said, to have Paulo step up, have other guys step up like that was just enormous, just for the community and just for the vibes, the positive vibes. We have so many times where we thought we were going to make it and an injury and, this guy doesn't work out. So to have it actually come to fruition was just glorious.
Malik, games 1 and 2, the Magic played good defense. That's not incorrect to say, but in games 3 and 4, the defense has certainly shifted and changed. What are some of the things? I mean, you mentioned we saw some lineup changes. They shifted who Suggs is defending, but it also seems like, at least from my point of view, that they're just switching so much. They all look busier. They look peskier. They look feistier and quicker. You are seeing guys sprint across the court, court side to court side, to switch to different defenders or offensive players and stuff like that as coverages change. What are some things you are seeing defensively between that it changed from games 1 and 2 to games 3 and 4?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that the lineup change did matter. Obviously, I was on board with Jonathan Isaac being the starter.
Sure, I think we all were,
because
at least I was.
It seemed like the maybe the culmination of a storybook type of a season where you had managed them throughout the season, and now you have this death lineup that you're going to unveil. It didn't quite work out that way. There were some things where it just didn't seem like the offense was clicking, but also the bench wasn't clicking the same way. And I think that's what we saw in games 3 and 4 was not that the lineups before were bad, but that familiarity.
Yeah.
Those starting five had played together on both ends of the court, and that bench where you could cover up Moritz Wagner, where you can cover up some different guys and guys in their normal roles, plus being at home, which of course gives you more energy. Because let's face it, the Orlando Magic crowd brought it. I mean, I know we didn't have to worry about like Knicks fans where they travel and that kind of thing, or some other the Heat or whoever it is and all. But that said, the people that came in, they were ravenous. Now, there obviously are some more wine and cheese crowd in there because there's kind of more scalping going on. There's kind of a big ticket kind of atmosphere. But overall, the fans can really pat themselves on the back for what they offered to the team. And I think it mattered on the court because there was a cohesiveness on both ends, and especially offensively. Because like you said, defensively, the Magic were good this first two games. In fact, all 4 games, they haven't given up 100 points yet to Cleveland yet. But offensively, to be able to get steals and get runouts and weather some storms and all, it was a completely different ballgame.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty. I think there's a lot to be said about familiarity, and I also just think like you need JI on the second unit to cover up for some of those other guys. It allows having JI back there who can pick up someone on the perimeter, but also drop back quickly into the paint and just like kind of just be this Swiss Army knife defender that is such a good team defender and on-ball defender. It allows Cole to be more of aggressive because if his guy slips by him, he knows he's got backup. Where, no disrespect to Wendell Carter, he's just not mobile like that. Like, he's a good defender, don't get me wrong, but he can't really cover up for other guys' mistakes like Jonathan Isaac can. And Jonathan Isaac was getting bullied around a little bit with some of the size in the starting unit with Jared Allen. And, that's when we saw Jared Allen just get like all the offensive rebounds in the world he ever wanted. I think in the second game, he had like 9 offensive rebounds. It was fucking obnoxious. It's just, I think you're right. There needed to go back to some familiarity there. And then Jalen Suggs' just energy just clicked to a different level when he got home. And I think that just sparked everyone. You're seeing guys play a little bit more with just some just passion too, to an extent. Not that they're not passionate, but like, Franz Wagner playing to the crowd. You're seeing him vocally talking trash to the Cavs. This has been a fun series for trash talking back and forth. It's happened a little bit. Man, I love that moment in game 4 where Jalen Suggs and Darius Garland, they get into it with each other, but it's like, it's just pure competitiveness. And, they're bumping chests, but they're smiling and like head nodding, like, yeah, let's have fun. Like, this is good. This is good. That was really cool. And, it's stupid that they gave him techs for that, by the way. I hated that they both got a technical for that. Thankfully, it like evened out, but it's like, that was stupid. Like, that's just competition. Let them compete. Let them compete, referees.
I think in the moment, I think they were worried that it would escalate, but when you saw how their faces, we saw what their rationale was, you could tell that it was just all in good fun and competitiveness. But I don't mind that the refs trying to make sure nothing got crazy, because it could have gotten crazy. They were nose to nose, but those are good guys. Those are good guys. And there, I mean, if it had been, I don't know, Niang and Moritz Wagner chest to chest, maybe different. It might have been a UFC fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What'd you think about game 4 specifically? Game 4, the first half was actually pretty tight. And then the second half, the lid blew off. We got Franz. What happened between the first half and the second half to see just those changes to where the team just kind of took over again? And Cleveland, they scored 89 points that game.
Well, that's the game that was really fascinating to me, because leading up to it, I want to say in the post game on Thursday, you had Donovan Mitchell, and I think the reporter said, "Hey, did you see when Paulo Moncaro, whoever it was, they did the too small motion to you, and they were kind of doing this thing?" And Donovan Mitchell played dumb. He's like, "Oh no, I didn't see that. Oh, good to hear." And like kind of had that attitude that he was going to come out on fire on Saturday. And that first half, there were some moments where you're like, 18 points in the first half. Maybe we
Right.
did wake up and, down by 9 and we could have been up by more and kicking the ball over the court. What have we done? And because there were people saying, okay, what do you take away from that Thursday game? Was it a fluke? Was it just a hot shooting night and then Cleveland's going to take control in game 4? And that was when you were worried. You're like, what if everyone is right? Because we
Right.
think we belong here.
Yeah.
But what if really we're just frauds? And to see it all come together in that third quarter, and not just defensively where we just clamped them down, but it was also offensively. I mean, we were scoring points. We were between 2 games where we brought in garbage, time guys. Anthony Black's out there. Jet Howard's out there, effing around getting 5 points, that kind of stuff. So it was a different kind of a thing. And Donovan Mitchell scoreless in the second half in game 4. And once again, Jalen Suggs in game 4, learning tendencies, being on him, greatly and stuff. Now, I don't expect him to, have the water turned off the rest of the series, but that was really something to see that we could do that. And also, they're calling for the coach's head. Like, hey, JB, I'm seeing fire JB trending on Twitter, that kind of stuff. So it's like another level of intensity. And then once again, to come through to have it be tied was just a big deal. So
it's been interesting. Donovan Mitchell, like, he's a playoff performer. He's one of the best playoff performers we've seen
he stepped it up, man.
Yeah, I mean, he always steps up in the playoffs in years past. This year, he just can't get going. Between Gary Harris and Jalen Suggs switching on him, he's had some okay games, but it's like I think the most he's had is like 21 or 22 points or something like that in game 1 or 2 at home. It's just like he can't get going, because if he does, that changes things. But they've done such a good job of containing him, and stopping him from getting into the basket. He's still picking up some free throws. Like, he got to the line 7 times and went 7 for 7 in game 4. So like, there's still some things that he's going to do, but it's like, you just need to contain him from going off for 35. Like, if he scores 20, 21, that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, and he had 30 that first game, and that was where we're like, oh man, is he getting warmed up? Will he get 30, 35? Will it keep creeping up? And to see him go down 30, 23, 13, 18, and all those in the first half, I was telling somebody that you talked about the role players. We've been telling ourselves, hey, the role players will play better at home. Okay. Well, now you're going on the road. You no longer have that thing. I think that Paulo and Franz will need to play great together for the Magic to get this game 5, because it's not an elimination game, but it's that pivotal swing game.
It is
a game where, they're playing for their coach. They're playing to keep Donovan Mitchell. They're playing for pride. They're playing Shaq clowning them, the Wagner brothers, he's, that kind of stuff that people are getting. And so it's the stakes are really high for them. They're huge for us as well. But this is a must-win game. They could lose their crowd if they play like they played on Saturday. That crowd's going to boo them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not predicting that, but I'm just saying that's what's at stake. They could win them over and like, hey, we're taking control and we're keeping Donovan, and everybody's going to get free sandwiches. Or it could be like, we need to fire this coach. I guess we could trade in Donovan Mitchell. Like, it could be really catastrophe. So it's just, I want to take their hearts. I want them to be crying in the stands. But first things first, obviously.
I think this is a really big game for the Magic too. Obviously it's a big game for Cleveland, because you lose at home and that sucks. But like, if the Magic can take the momentum that they've gained in games 1 and 2, keep that same energy. They have so much. They've been playing with so much energy, and so much focus and attention to detail that those are the things that need to stay consistent when they come into Cleveland, on Tuesday, and at 5 p.m. and play the Cavs in order to come back with the W. If they can secure that first road win, that would be such huge momentum coming back home to play Friday, in game 6, where I've called it Magic in 6. I don't want to be wrong, Malik. I've said it from the beginning, even when we were down 0-2, I said Magic in 6.
I like it, dude. I like you saying that. I feel like it's bold.
Need it.
I'm not ready to go there, but I love seeing you go there, and I'm supporting you. You know what I'm
I,
saying?
I have to admit, my opinions and analysts on the Magic get a little bit more biased in the playoffs than they do in the regular season. I start caring less about being somewhat like not over the top and try and have a little bit of an open mind and some neutrality and some
You're wanting to
life
hang out.
and
You're
control the
hot
bias.
taking it.
But now I'm there
Yeah,
all
man.
the way, pedal to the metal. It's a damn shame that coach didn't make coach of the year and he got second. That's a fucking rude. We'll get to that. We'll get to
Right.
that. But that's where I'm at on the barometer scale. Right?
Yeah.
I'm up to 11. If you know that reference, I'm proud of you. If you don't know that reference, listeners,
Let's go to 11. I like
go
it.
learn it. All right, go listen, figure it out.
Well,
Man,
the thing
so
is that
go ahead.
to win this game, I want to bask in this moment because if the Magic win, it's going to be a huge accomplishment. I don't want anyone diminishing it, saying, "Oh, well, Darius Garland's struggling, and Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell. Hey, he hurt his knee a while back." No. This is a big deal because there's going to be adversity. I haven't seen who the refereeing crews are going to be, but it's going to be on the road with a hostile crowd. There's going to be calls that go against the Magic. There's going to be shots not going in. There's going to be role players that you're like, wait, did he even play? Like, I don't know if it's going to be Cole or Ingles, whoever. There's going to be one or two guys you're like, bro, can you do something? And it's going to be all on the shoulders, the broad, young shoulders of Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero. I want to find out, are they able to step it up? And if they do, the applause meter should be through the roof. Like, it shouldn't be like, oh, well, hey, no. It's going to be a big deal. Even if they lose and stay competitive, it's going to be a big deal because this is such the pressure has never been higher. And they've never done it before. So anyway, I just want to put that out there that I want before the fact to understand how big it'll be just to be competitive because it's going to be a hugely adverse situation, in my opinion.
No, I agree with that 100%, man. Like this, they've already accomplished more than anyone thought they would this season, right? Mm-hmm. We all thought they were going to be a competitive team. We all thought they would be a play-in team, but then they secured the 5th seed. They were even right up to the very last minute, home court advantage team. Right. And then most people, even with that, they're like, they're either going to get swept or maybe get a game. Well, now they've gotten 2 and they've made it a series. And honestly, this is the most competitive series. Maybe not the most, but one of the better competitive series in a lot of series where we have seen non-competitive basketball.
We got Clippers, Mavericks. They're tied.
That's been fun.
But other than that, that's what Kawhi out and stuff. But yeah,
Lakers have been getting their asses handed to them. Phoenix got swept. Miami, they had a game, but
they're about to get out. Yeah,
they're about to get out. The Bucks are about to get out with Giannis and Dame injured, and there just hasn't been like, this is a competitive series. We need them like this, but that doesn't mean. Sorry, I want to refocus all that. All that to say is that this is still unexpected for the Magic to be in the position they are. No one expected them to be 2-2 tied series, going into Game 5. I could see 3-1. But this is exciting. 2-2 is really awesome. Winning both at home. So they got to go take care of business. And I think a lot of it's going to come down to Jalen Suggs. I think a lot of it's also going to come down to Wendell Carter Jr. being aggressive with his positioning and his rebound control, on the glass on a road game with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. I think that's going to be really, really important because Jared Allen was a monster on the glass last time they played in Cleveland. So that is something I think is going to be really huge. But then you're right. Ultimately, I think this win's going to come down to Paulo and Franz, can you execute and limit turnovers? You both were high turnovers when you were in Cleveland, and you both have played well at home, with both your big nights respectively having 0 turnovers. Franz in Game 4, he had 34 points, 0 turnovers. So it's like, you want to see that happen again. You want to see that translate. It doesn't necessarily have to be 0 turnovers, but can we keep it to like a few, know? Yeah.
Well, and it was interesting. Like a lot of us kind of passed around. There was a couple tweets by B-Ball Breakdown, kind of noting, again, not saying it's a thing, but just kind of akin to the is this anything type of thing. But noting that the Magic were going at Evan Mobley a number of times on switches with their big forwards, whether it be Paolo Banchero, whether it be Franz Wagner, even Jalen Suggs a little bit, going at him from the perimeter. And just to see if that's something that they can do again, because he's so tough at the rim. He's so tough as a weak side defender. So I'm wondering, have they found something? Is it something where can you go directly at him? Because even though he's long and skilled, he's not as thick as Franz and Paolo. Now Paolo and Franz aren't always throwing guys around, but they've gotten them. They've Arnie Kander's gotten them in the weight room. You know what I'm saying? Toto Pandov has got them. Getting them kettlebells. They're a little bit thicker. Evan Mobley is still very thin. So it's interesting to see. We'll see how that goes in this game as well, I think.
We talked about role players playing better at the home, and we're going into a road game, and this rotation has shrunk. First couple of games, we were still kind of seeing coach try and force 10 people. And now it's really kind of 8.5, right? Outside of garbage time.
Yeah, Ingles has been shaved off a little bit, I think.
Game 4, he played 5 minutes. Game 3, I think it was maybe closer to 7. I don't have the box score up on that game right now. But he's been kind of cut out. Where Cole Anthony's at 15. Markelle Fultz, game 4, played 19 minutes. He had a really nice game that game.
We got to give him his props because he struggled, so we got to give him his props for sure.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, all of these guys struggled up until the home games, right? Markelle Fultz, Cole Anthony didn't score a bucket the first 2 games. Jonathan Isaac even struggled. Who do you think will perform well this next game on the road in Cleveland? I like if you had to take those 4 guys, our key main role players, I'm just calling the bench our role players right now. And granted, I think that's fair because they're all the ones that pretty much, Mo played fairly well those first couple games, but which one do you think will actually kind of step up and take some of the load and not be a weak link in this lineup?
I'm counting on Moritz and J.I. right now. I think those are 2 key guys, especially because, we've been kind of, minutes crunchers, watching what Jonathan Isaac's minutes with the fines he called. He went up to this, went up to that and something. And I think we're focused on, can he get up to this many minutes for the playoffs and that type of thing? And you saw in the first game, he started and he played 28 minutes, almost 28 minutes and 40 seconds. Now that was great. What we found out now is that he can play that amount of minutes. But here's the thing, he doesn't have to play that amount of minutes. Coming off the bench, now he can come out and maybe it can be a focused 15, 19, 22. But if there might be a game where if it comes down to the wire, where it's not a blowout, maybe then you can ramp up his 28 where it's fourth quarter minutes. And that's what if it's a close game, then maybe that's what we'll see. Not starting a game, but maybe you see Jonathan Isaac closing a game. Because we've seen some really fun times this season where he's closed games and you're like, this is kind of nice, man. Especially now J.I.'s hitting threes and doing tip dunks and stuff. Like it's, he's kind of found a little bit of groove. And then Moritz Wagner has just taken it to another level. He has 2 or 3 posters on Jared Allen, one-on-one. Where did that come from?
Yep.
I'm gonna be telling my kids in German in the future, Daddy, why did you dunk on the Afro man? That was crazy. That kind of stuff going on. It's wild stuff, So those are the guys I expect to step up, and they complement each other so well because obviously Moritz Wagner, he takes charges. He's sometimes in the right place, but he'll take the odd foul. He often gets beat defensively. But when he's next to J.I., he's a weak link, but J.I.'s coming over. You know what I'm saying? So
right. J.I. just covers so many things on that second unit. I think J.I. is going to play well. And believe it or not, I think Markelle Fultz will play well on the defensive side. He's played pretty decently on that side these last couple of games. I'd like to see him. They can't target Markelle Fultz defensively like they can target Cole Anthony as much. And I'd like to think they'll probably try and target both of them, but I think Markelle Fultz will be able to handle it a little bit better. And now that he's had a little bit of positive momentum, hopefully that will transition into it. because we got to get something out of one of Fultz or Anthony in those guard units to to get the offense rolling. We can't have them both be zeros like they were the first couple of games.
Well, here's the other thing is that you have an extra day off going into Tuesday's game. You have an extra day off going into Friday's game for game 6. You have these super young, talented forwards. If there's ever a game where you say, hey, we turn the freaking minutes up, you get some Tibbs in you, I want to see Paulo and Franz on the court a lot. Like, damn, they're still out there? Yes, they're still out there. Damn, that kind of thing where their tongues are lolling. They're just tired out and stuff. Now, mix and match around them. But sure. I really think we grind them into the dust for one game.
They need to be playing 40 plus.
Then let them rest, let them chill. We can give them Capri Suns, we can give them juice boxes, whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. We can give them jujubes. I don't care.
Give me the Sunny Delight.
Thank
Again,
you, Sunny D.
Referencing our ages here for all these young listeners.
Give us some Tampico. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Get it together. But it's just like, this is the game you ride them. And I know Mosley has not staggered them. What if he staggers them? I'm just saying, what if... I mean, Moses could surprise us. And the one thing, we mentioned briefly, we're going to talk about Mose and the Coach of the Year thing. There's obviously things where we're like, hey, I wish he would do this, I wish he would do that. But his fortitude, his energy, and his focus of like, hey, we're going to get through this. We're going to figure this out. I don't care how far we're down. I don't care how much they're going to have to come with it and stuff. I think that's rubbing off. Somebody said that when he was hired, somebody said, hey, listen, the best thing about him is that his players are going to love him so much, they're not going to let him fail.
Yeah, and I forget who said that.
I don't know if it was Jeff Turner or it might have been, but I bet you heard somebody say that. But I think we're seeing that, in that his guys are like, oh, man, Coach disappointed in us, man. We're just disappointing dad. And they come out in the second half and they show it and they bring it and some of that stuff. So that's what I want to see in Game 5, even when there's adversity, when we're down by 8 or 10 early, or there's 2 fouls on a guy, or there's the ref is just on one, just out of pocket, So I want to see that and stuff. That's what I'm looking forward to on Tuesday.
Magic in 6, brother. Let's
do it, man.
Holding down to it. I'm holding down to it. I want to go to this Magic game as a fan on Friday. I'm not even trying to do media passes. I just want to go as a fan. I bought tickets already. And I want to beverages will be had. And I want to walk away going with this Magic team going to the second round, and I will spend an ungodly amount of money at the team shop, and my wife will be very upset with me. I'll be upset with me on probably how much I spent the next day. But I'm excited. I want to have that degenerate life, that degenerate moment after the game, Magic in 6. That's how I'm going to celebrate. I'm
digging that Jeff Turner Capaya shirt.
It's pretty cool, huh? It's pretty cool.
It's corny as hell, but it's definitely one of those if you know type of things. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like for the fans, like who is that guy? What is Capaya? Is it?
That's going to be a vintage shirt in 20 years.
Papaya? Is it papaya? No.
That'll be the vintage in 20 years that we're seeing,
And he's such a
player's closet.
He's a sweet man, dude. You know what I mean? We've all run into him here and there, but in the catacombs of the stadium. Dude. He's such a nice dude. I mean, and now he has his knee healed. He's got his grandkids and stuff.
Walk upstairs again.
The vibes are
great,
dope, bro. The vibes are awesome.
Speaking of good vibes, Coach did not win Coach of the Year. Stupid. He should have. But congrats on getting second place, Coach Mosley. He had 158 total votes for Coach of the Year. Mark Daignault of Oklahoma City Thunder had 473. So it honestly wasn't even close. Chris Finch of Minnesota was third place at 105 votes. Then Joe Mazzulla rounds out the top 4 with 79 total points. Not votes. Those are total points, people. I apologize. You get 5 points for first place vote, 3 points for a second place vote, 1 point for a third place vote. And those are the total points that each coach accumulated. Coach Mosley with 4 first place votes, 36 second place votes, and 30 third place votes. How does that make you feel, man? Do you think Coach should have won?
I honestly, I was just glad to see him in the top three.
That's fair.
I was glad to see him second. What I'm frustrated about is that sometimes, because of the way the calendar goes and the way teams ebb and flow, is that you only get a chance to win the Coach of the Year when you're thought to be here, but then your team gets here, and you're perceived to have taken them farther than they should have gone. So is this the only time that Jamal Mosley might have that chance where they went from 34 wins to 47 wins? Is there going to be another chance for him to have that huge leap and then people be like, oh, give him the award and stuff? This might have been his best chance. Will he ever even finish second again? That's the only thing that disappoints me. I don't have a problem with Dak not winning it. Okay, see what they did with the rookie center and all that kind of stuff.
It's pretty good.
Great stuff. I give him props and stuff. I'd have loved our dude to win. Don't get me wrong. I just want Jamal to have another shot in the coming years. I hope this isn't a flash in the pan. He needs to keep improving, and the team needs to keep improving around him. Yeah, that's what I want.
Correct.
If this is a blip where he's never even close again, that's sad. But if this is just, hey, second this year, and then, oh, wait a minute. Then they won 55 games, and guess what? He won it. Now we're talking. That makes me happy. You know what I'm saying? If after the fact, this is part of a nice storybook, I love that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying.
No, it was cool, man. I'm, definitely glad to see him recognized. I think you could have had a case for him to win Coach of the Year, but obviously Mark did a great job in OKC. Despite having MVP caliber players. I think people forget, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander isn't exactly young. He's been in the league for like 7 years now. He's a veteran.
But Jalen Williams' second year, Chet's first year, that kind of
whatever,
stuff. So,
I don't care. Those guys are they suck. Brush them to the side. Anyways, this has been fun, Malik. I appreciate you chopping it up with me, talking a little bit of Magic basketball. Before we go, got any last thoughts?
I want to close out in 6, dude. I'm all on the Stephen Cameron bandwagon, dude. I want to close out in 6. I want to win this game 5. I want to have a week of just getting buttered up and talking about things and all that kind of stuff. That would be glorious. Because again, we the Shaq jersey in the rafters, controversial as it is, kind of as it is and stuff. Hey, man, the pub, you can't pass it up. And him talking about the Wagner Boys and seeing TNT and stuff. It's all in good fun. And the casual fans, the people that I went to PT today, and the guy was like, hey, the Magic are pretty good, right? Like, guys that would never mention these things, people are mentioning it. And it's nice. We don't care, but we care. And it's nice.
Very nice. Very nice. Where can the people find you, Malik?
Find me on Twitter, Malik G. Find me Malika Ming on Instagram. Always willing to engage. Love Orlando Magic basketball. Love Gator basketball. I think about basketball 365 a year. Stephen Cameron, great man, great father, great husband. This beautiful face of his. Follow him. Follow Orlando Magic HQ. They're doing great work. These guys are they love the Magic just as much as you guys do, and we appreciate it.
Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Malik, I appreciate you joining. This was a lot of fun. Feels good to just talk some basketball with you. It's been a while, been a couple months. We've both been busy too, so like our chat has been quieter than normal the last month or so. So it's nice to like actually connect and get some thoughts together and just chop it up a bit. Magic fans, let's go. I don't got nothing else to say. Let's go, Magic. Come on, baby. Magic in 6. Yeah. Orlando Magic HQ out.